Welcome to today's class. We're going to be drawing that figure you are seeing at the right corner of the screen. So it is called a line problem. So the first task here is that our dimension there is given to be what? 90, diameter of 90. So I will take my square this way, draw a straight line, long one, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, right? And I will draw a vertical line, right? A vertical line, this way, take it up, this way. I have this. So my next task is to what? Measure 45, which is half of 90. So 45 from this point here to this point is 45. So at this point here, draw the circle. Make sure the circle is thickening it. I have this. Now my next task here is that, as you can see, this figure, those inner shape you are seeing there is given to be what? Band 6 wide, right? Simply means the wideness of that band is what? 6. So my first task now is to just draw a line connecting this and this, a faint one, because I don't need it. Faint one here too, a faint one, then a faint one connecting this point and this point, right? And another faint one. I have this, right? My next task here is that after doing this, I will take my compass up a half, my meter rule. I will measure out what? 6. Since it's going to be 6, I'll measure out 6 on this, right? Similarly, I'll come to this point here, measure out 6, come to this point here, measure out 6, and lastly this point here, measure out 6. I have 6, right? So similarly, I will take my meter rule, join them together with a faint line, right? Come to this point, join it together with that other point with a faint line. This point here to this point, the faint line, and lastly this point here to this point with a faint line. I have this. That's my first task. My second task here is to what? Is to use my 45-degree set square. I mean this 45 degrees. This one here, this one. Can you see that? So this is my center point, right? At the center point, see my T-square this way. So I'll make sure it passes through my center point this way to get 45 degree. I have this. Similarly, come to this point, I have this, right? So now my next task is that at each point, I will just connect this point here, connect this point to this point first, the faint line. Can you see that? Connect this point to the other point here, the faint line. Faint, please. Similarly, take it 60 degrees, 90 this way, connect it downward, faint line, then come to the other point here, connect it downward with the faint line. I have this. So what do you observe? The same 6. The way I did here, I'll measure 6 here, 6 down here, 6 down here, and 6 here. So you take my meter rule, 6 on this point here, to this point here is 6, right? From this point here to this point here, 6, right? So from this point here to this point here, 6, right? So from this point here to this point here is 6. So I will take my interval, join this point here to this point, a faint line, right? This point here to this point here with a faint line. So take it this way, join this point here with this with a faint line, and lastly join this point and this point together with a faint line. So my next task now is to observe, right? Is to observe. Let's start with this part here. What is taken there? This point, from this point here to this point is taken, right? I'm taking it this way, right? Next task, which point again is taken? From this point here to that upper point here, to this plate is taken, right? Similarly, from that point, take that point here, upward this way, have this, right? So cover up this is taken from this point here to that point, taken, have this, right? Then close this up, and close this up. I have this. So coming down here from this point here, take it, draw it down this way, then connect it downward this way. You have this. Make sure you look at what you are doing very well to avoid mistake. Out of this line here, connect it to this point here, then take it down to this upper point here. Have this. Similarly, I think this is close down to this part, and this from this upper point here to this point, then from this point here down to this point. I have this. Can you see that? So my next task here, let me show you. From this point down point here to the bottom line here, I will join it to this, right? To this. So from this point here, join it downward, right? Move to the upper one, the next one, to this. Then from this point here, join it downward. I have this, right? So similarly at this point, so I'm just doing what? Copy and paste what I'm seeing there at the corner of the screen. That's what I'm repeating. This point, take it downward, right? From this point to this point, close here up, then take this downward too. I have this. So similarly, this point here is the result of that point, right? So take this point to this point and take its own point downward, right? Take this point here to downward. Similarly, this point will close it to this point here. I have this. So it remains what? This part here, right? So let's do that part. This point to this point. I'll take this downward and take this downward this way, right? And close this up here. Close this up. I have this. Similarly, I will close here up this point here to this, and finally this to this. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and like. But before that, I will join this point together with the help of my my T-square. This point here to this point, taking it, right, and this point here to this point, taking it. So similarly, with the help of my T-square this way, join the point together, and finally join the other 2 points here together. I have this. So you found this video helpful. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button and like. Thank you. Welcome to WAEC Academy.